Hey there, ramblers and rovers. So we're exploring backroads Yucatan, passing through all these little towns, exploring the northeast of Merida. So we're passing through all these little towns. We're gonna pass through the town of Motul. Right now we're passing through the small town of Baca, on our way towards the northern coast of Yucatan, a place of ruins, mangrove forests, beautiful beaches, and just a place ripe for exploration, adventure, and some off the beaten path traveling here in the Yucatan Peninsula. Stay tuned because this is going to be an exciting day, and if you're here in the Merida area and you want to have your own little adventure, be sure to watch the entire video and to follow us on our channel as we do plenty of exploration. So we just turned into the road that leads into the archaeological site here, and already you can see the mangroves and the ruins, first ruins here. Incredible. We are in the archaeological site of Xcambo, here in the northern shore of the Yucatan Peninsula, a 50-minute drive away from the city of Merida. And we are exploring this magnificent site, which is located right at the edge of a mangrove forest / wetlands. And as you can see, it's raining, and this has also kind of turned into wetlands itself. So this is a very interesting site. It's very unique. It's being so close to the ocean. It's kind of like, imagine almost a Tulum on the northern shore of the peninsula. So let's start exploring this marvelous site and see what kind of mysteries it unravels as we do so. So let's get going.
That are more obvious.
Yeah, these are the ruins of Xcambo. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, Xcambo.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
How's the ground?
It's a little saggy.
Yeah. So we're starting here at the main plaza of the site of Xcambo and exploring some of the structures that it has surrounding it. So it appears to be two different temples. This one on this side, and then this other one on that side, which still contains plaster reliefs that were done as a part of the temple decorations, which is something that's very unique. So we're gonna be exploring that in just a little bit. So unlike some of these other sites around the Yucatan Peninsula, this site doesn't receive as many visitors, and so the archaeologists still allow climbing the pyramid steps to the top of the structure to be able to get a glimpse, a bird's eye view of the entire site, which is interesting. So hopefully from here we'll be able to have a good view of the surrounding area. You can see the Hotel Tintelchac all the way in that direction. So this is the view from the top of the temple of the Great Plaza, and the other temple right here at the other side. On this side of the structure, we can actually see the ocean in that direction, nestled in between mangrove forests and wetlands. You can hear the sounds of all the animals in the wetlands, bugs, birds of all kinds from up here. It's very serene. Perfect thing to do for a Saturday afternoon. Just come out and explore this site and just appreciate this very unique city, just nestled, abandoned in the middle of the wetlands here in Northern Yucatan. It's like such a fantastic scene for like a novel or a story or something. So this site doesn't have a cost to enter as Mexicans. You just register and you just walk into the site. It's a pretty small site, so you can see it within an hour and a half at the most. And for foreigners, it's 90 pesos, I believe. So that's like $4.50, more or less. So as we're heading towards the other temple at the other end of the plaza, you have this structure over here, which would have had two different houses at the top, or structures, which each would have probably have been a temple in its own right. Just this like twin, like two towers at the side of the plaza. And then you have these structures over here, which look like it might have been altars. It's just so hard to imagine what this site would have actually looked like way back in the day without some kind of like artistic recreation and like a lot of imagination. That's why it's so stimulating to come to these sites, because you really have to sometimes just squint and just kind of try to imagine these places not as just like a jumble of rocks, but as places that were painted and plastered over, and with people and decorations and statues and stelas and all manner of like artistic beauty. So that's one of the benefits of coming to these places, just connecting with like that sense of mystery and wonder about these ancient civilizations. So we're now going up the other main structure here at the plaza, and there are these protective coverings that are meant to keep these plaster masks from getting any more damaged. So these masks would have protected the facade of the pyramid facing this way, and would have been painted over in bright colors, possibly like a red color, and just form this imposing image that was projected outward towards any visitors. You can still see the nose and earrings right here on the mask behind us. The problem with this site is that there's absolutely no information available at the site itself. There's no site museum, and cell phone reception is kind of sketchy, so I would really recommend that you do your research beforehand. Otherwise, there's gonna be like no information here, and you're just going to be enjoying like a jumble of rocks with no meaning. So it's a really good recommendation. It's a beehive right there. Just look at the nature behind me. This is such beautiful forest. So you can see that this is quite more jungly than most of western Yucatan will be, but it's just so beautiful. There's so many butterflies. You can see birds. We saw a beehive right on the other side of the structure, and we can see more on this end. You can just hear the call of the cicadas. So I mean, the mangrove wetland environment like really plays into like the ambience and the scenery here in Xcambo. I've always really just enjoyed coming up to the top of these pyramids and just connecting with the nature around, because they're just built around the trees. Well, these trees have come up since they were abandoned, so but it almost feels as though you're just like in the canopy, which you kind of are. There you are. Were you thinking of running to the mangroves?
No, I wasn't. I've been here all the time.
So we literally just heard some kind of feline yowl out in the jungle this way. It's not a joke. Did it happen?
Call that a yowl? It was like a. Well, those people seem scared, but like.
I mean, it could be any number of species that live here in Northern Yucatan. Anything from a jaguar all the way to like a lynx or like smaller species, feline species that inhabit here. Oh my god, I really hope we get to see it.
I don't. No. At least we're up here.
Killjoy. So this sound is kind of what it sounded like. It was just somewhere around here. Hearing that animal noise just come out of the jungle from when we were on top of the pyramid was insane. Comparable only to seeing spider monkeys from the gas station when we were driving north from Bacalar a couple of weeks ago. It's just so much beautiful nature here. It's incredible. A well with live fish. This must connect directly into a cenote, a sinkhole right below. So speaking of wells, the ancient Mayans had the practice of creating these underground reservoirs that they would make waterproof by putting plaster on the walls, and this is where they would store the water for either the dry season or to have some kind of drinkable water in an environment like this where it's swamp water or salt water. So these would be called chultunes, and you can see them as a common feature in many Mayan sites all around southern Mexico, Guatemala. That's typical for Spaniards or even well past the colonial period, that churches were built on ancient Mayan sites to help with the conversion of the indigenous peoples. And the iguanas, who we know are heathens, and just aid in this process of evangelization and Hispanization, as many of the locals were used to coming to a certain place to worship. So for the friars and the evangelists, it made sense to build the churches where the indigenous peoples were already used to coming to worship. So you have this like stone slab altar. So it's very probable that many of the stones used in the construction of this church were actually from the structures here in the city. And here in particular, you could even kind of see that it was actually built onto an existing structure and using the steps already there to kind of build out the rest of the chapel, which is very interesting. So here's some last little curious tidbits that I gleaned from the old man who's like the caretaker of Xcambo, like the site caretaker. So he was there actually when they first did the excavations in the site, and he was saying that he used to sleep with the skeletons, like to keep guard over them, to make sure people wouldn't come and loot like whatever was that the archaeologists were excavating. And he was also saying that you can hear birds whose calls sound like babies, as though they're like children or babies out in the night. Flamingos, there's flamingos. So those were the last little tidbits. We literally just saw flamingos by the side of the road, and we're gonna go out to see them. So yeah, these are the flamingos. So cool to see flamingos in the wild. Just insane. So we hope you enjoyed this video of our exploration through Xcambo, and hopefully you can add this site to your travel bucket list for when you come to Merida and Northern Yucatan, so that you too can have your very own rambling and roving adventure. Remember to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel. It keeps us growing and it keeps us bringing you these amazing places from all around the world, as well as the stories that reside inside them. We hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next adventure, amigos, hasta luego, adios.